Today we're going to take a look at a question by Mr. Ward, 74, who asks, Mr. Smith, how do you stop curl routes and out routes? And also, how do you hit stick wide receivers without getting pass interference? So first let's look at how we're going to stop out routes. But before we do that, we need to show just how effective these out routes can be. So it's a standard two-man under defense. And as you can see right there, the defender stands no chance to be able to make a play. He gets burnt by a good 5 yards of separation. You know, two-man under is a very solid defense. I know a lot of people love to play it this year. But just like any type of defense, there's always going to be routes that beat that type of coverage. Out routes, smart routed out routes, just happen to destroy man coverage. So, you know, Mr. Ward 74 not only asked how to stop curl routes, but he also asked how to stop out routes. So this tells me right away that he loves to play man coverage because these are the two routes that torch man coverage. So the first way that I'm going to show to stop it is by calling one of my favorite stock defenses in the game. I've talked about it all year long, and that is a cover 2 sink. And the reason we love it is just because it's really just the yellows on the outside and the way that they play the out route. Take a look at it here, and as you can see, we jump up and we should have had an interception. Because the out route is going to the sideline, look at our defender and see how he's playing the sideline right away. This is good news for us. This is exactly what we want. And as soon as he makes his cut, our defender is going to be right there to be able to make a play. He's not in man coverage, so there's not going to be any sort of glitching him out to get separation. He's going to stay true to his zone, and we're going to be able to make an interception or we're going to get a stop. So that's the first way that I like to stop out routes. Also, there's a play called CB Dog Zone I showed earlier in the year. It's a max coverage defense. You can check it out on our channel. And what we did here was we had two corners blitzing, and I always either put the defender over here that's blitzing in a flat zone or in a yellow zone. So if you're really having trouble stopping out routes to the sidelines, just put these guys both in yellows, and then not only are we going to stop out routes, but we also have a great max coverage defense against any other type of routes. Okay, so next, the second way that we're going to stop this is actually by calling a two-man under defense. But what we need to do is we need to make adjustments. So the adjustment that we need to make on defense in a two-man under is by shading the receiver to the outside. To do this, we press Y to bring up this menu. Then we press A for individual coverage. Then the receiver that we want to stop from running the out route, which in this case is X. And we're going to press left on the D-pad, which is going to shade the receiver to the left, which basically just means your defender is going to go to the left. So let's take a look at the difference here in the way that he plays it. And we do get a stop because he's stuck with him the entire way. And, you know, the first 5 or 6 yards, it looks, identical. Right here, our opponent thinks this is a two-man under defense without any shading. But as you can see right here, we asked him to shade to the left, so he does cut in towards the sideline. He sticks with the receiver, and he's able to get his hand up and make a play. And a lot of the times, we are going to get an interception. If you're worried about out routes to the right side of the field, it's the same thing. We just need to press a different icon and shade a different way. So we press Y, we press A, we press the B button because that's a receiver on the right side of the field, and then we're going to shade to the right. And the reason we're going to shade to the right is because, again, it's all about what direction you want your defender to go. So if we want our defender to cover the sidelines, we need to shade right. So those are how I stop out routes personally in Madden 13. And now we're going to look at how we stop curl routes. So as I said, curl routes absolutely torch man coverage, and as I'm going to show you right here, we just throw it right here and we're going to get an easy catch with a good 2 to 3 yards of separation against the defender. It's money in the bank all day long, out routes and curls. A lot of people, when they're facing man defense, you know, a curl on one side and an out route on the other, and they just pick their poison depending on where the user defender is, and we just make easy completions like this all day long. So how do we stop this? Well, one way that we're going to stop it is by mixing up a cover 4 defense. So here, you're going to see a standard cover 4 defense. Well, the problem with the cover 4 is that these purples are going to bite down on flat routes. So if you see here, we're going to have Y on a flat. This is a concept. It's called the curl flat concept. I talked about it early in the year. I showed this exact play out of 5 wide and how we could beat pretty much any type of defense by running curl flat. But this purple is going to cover that Y route. Let's just go ahead and take a look at what a standard cover 4 defense will do against a curl. See, again, it's an easy completion no matter what because of the fact that the defender is going to play down in the flat. He just comes down, and there's nothing that they can do. The purples, you know, they just don't play the way that they should this year. There's no reason for him to come down to the flat. I mean, it's good that he's trying to, you know, cover the open receiver, but at the same time, you know, he should be covering the area of the field that we're asking him to cover. So it's definitely a problem, but there is a way that we can get around this, and the way that I'm going to show you is, I think, something that was shown by Moss to Chappie. I'm not 100% sure because I don't usually look at other YouTube videos of other people, but I was told about this by somebody else who said that it was Moss to Chappie that came up with this. So Moss to Chappie, I want to thank you very much for this because we are going to show this in our example for Mr. Ward 74. And what we need to do is we just need to put any defender, whether it's the safety or a linebacker, in a flat zone. He doesn't need to cover the flats. We don't need to click off him and have him cover the flats in order for the purple to play it properly. We just need it to be called. So we can user this defender, we can be over here, whatever. It's just a glitch in the coding that makes it so that, you know, because we have a flat already, now the purple's not going to play the flat and he's going to play the curl. So let's take a look at the difference. I showed you already what the standard cover for. And the difference is that, as you can see right there, he comes back and he plays the curl route. He hesitates for a second because he is in zone coverage, and they should do that. Just like in the real NFL, he should kind of check it a little bit, but then he jumps right back and covers that curl route. So this is a way that we're going to be able to stop curl routes. You know, it's not the best way in the world, but there's lots of things that you can do. If you don't like playing, you know, zone all the way across the field, you know, I love to mix in my coverages. So let's call a cover 4. Let's say you're worried about out routes and curl routes. Okay, so now we've got it on lock. So let's bump and run. We're going to bring up this menu again. We're going to individual coverage. We're going to shade X to the outside. We're going to shade B to the outside. Now we've got 2 safeties deep. We're in man coverage on the outside, so we've got out routes covered. And then if we put this player here in a flat zone and manually control him, if we're worried about flats on one side, then, you know, we've got the out route covered with the shading and then the curl covered because that purple is now going to play the curl. So hopefully you understand exactly what I mean. We can mix this in, man coverage, and we still do have 2 safeties deep. The other thing we can do is if we really wanted, if we're worried about the right side of the field, so we can put this guy in a flat zone and then manually cover this guy. So this way, we've got curls and out routes both covered. So Mr. Ward 74, I want to thank you very much for the question, and I hope that this helps. I do love a 2-man under defense, but it's leaving you susceptible to these routes being completed on you, and these are the ways that you can avoid that in the future. Anyway, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, guys. Check out thegamerslab.com, and I'll see you guys next time.